Hello, I am the Awkward GM Corbin, and today we are doing an At the Gates New Game Plus campaign planning thing. Before I get started, I just want to point out that we got the StoryPath Ultra crowdfunding happening on BackerKit. If you have not backed it yet, I highly recommend in doing so because it has just hit new milestones for new stretch goals, which means at 40,000, uh, we get a the open, not open. We get the approved gaming license. I should have actually opened it up on this window here. Let me see if I can just toss it over. Yeah, there we go. So this is the we go down here into the community section, we can actually see where they talk about that. Oh, and I've got an interview here. Liked. Oh, I not logged in. Crap. Any case, I'll just go down to the stretch goals here. Approved licensing program. I don't know anything about that. In surprised me as much as anyone else here, but I'm really excited for it. Tell me if you're excited to see people making games using the StoryPath Ultra system. I I'm excited. I'm all for it. What else has been going on? There's it Onyx Path Monday meeting notes are anything to be aware of. We have on sale this week Threats and Curs. That's pretty much it as far as my notes go for the start. I'm pretty excited about this approved gaming license. I keep wanting to say open, but it is not open. It's approved. Don't know why. Don't know how the process will end up if and when we get that stretch goal, but I'm excited. And I forgot to grab water, so I am going to have to be a little bit careful today, but that is on me. And if I need to go grab something, I will. In any case, last time we left off, we were doing our planning for the At the Gates campaign. I have a bunch of stuff written down here as far as the outline for the story. Last we left off, the Spring Dragon was the dragon that the players were going to sort of collect, as it were, and it was going to end with some sort of negotiation between the Cavernites and the Ordonians, maybe even dealing with the Blight, and maybe causing stuff to happen with the Magocracy. Now, as far as the series of events went, we started at Talpitami, and now we want to have a summer dragon as our next one, which I think Federation of Eves is a pretty good place to go because it's a little bit from what I've seen. It's more like pirate themed and has a lot of islands. Could be a good place for a summer type thing to do. And hey, if I'm getting into this whole like anime thing with my games where I want to be like hitting the anime tropes like a little bit at a time. Like I'm thinking right now of doing like a farming game with like little to no combat if possible, but focusing on like trying to build up a farm and stuff like that, which would be fun. One thing that people might have heard of is that At the Gates actually does have a fishing game in it. If I look around here, yeah, we have the fishing mini game. And it was just crazy that this got into it. But any case, that's something that we could do for this actually, because if we do Federation of Eves, that's actually a good place to. You know what? Jumping right to the Federation of Eves. Now, if I look at the notes I made for Federation of Eves, they're mostly people with fish or sea mammal animal features. and some people who have bird features. Their culture is mostly about sailors and fishermen. They did just recently have a secession from Cilicia. And then we also have the fact that their capital is sovereign, and the Well of Creation is in this area as well. And demon research is happening, so there are a lot of things going on. So we already have like 2 groups that we can possibly interact with in this area. I am going to write down that this section is going to be taking place here. Is this a header? Yeah, this is a header. I need to put that down as header 3. I might be spelling some words wrong here. But taking notes, you don't need to do anything. You can always make things wrong in this. So there's going to be a spy network from Salice to deal that is currently inside the Federation. And their goal is to, I'm going to say, assassinate. Who is the leader of the Federation? I feel like the leader of the Federation is a president, but I'm not sure. Council of Captains and Island Leaders. So we might do a and then there were none type story where someone is going to try and kill the council members. We don't have a hard number, I think, of the council, but we'll do some research into that. So Eves. That's just a short thing about Eves. Where is the full thing? Here we go. We have the history, Winds of Change. What returned from the... Oh. Okay. Each island on its own was a mosquito buzzing in the Salachan navy, never able to do more than irritate the occupying forces. To strike back, they needed to unify. To unify, they needed leaders. They came in the form of 4 fish folk with fierce ideas about freedom. There's Adiran Pride, Aladre, Red Kite, and Sardona the Eel. They came from different backgrounds, a mercenary, a scholar, and a pair of thieves, but together they determined the skills to ruin Salice's plan for the Evesian Islands. So we do have There's just one great deed that remains a secret known only to the founders of the resistance. Not all the pride and power that fueled their movement was entirely natural. Okay. So, okay, wasn't entirely natural. A great share of it, the immense reservoirs of power that allowed Orladre to shape tides and steer winds, was borrowed. In the first winter of the war, when it seemed Salacha would never give up its prized possessions, Orladre and Sardona sailed alone to the Well of Creation. Orladre dove into the maelstrom and sank, plunging deeper and deeper until the pressure nearly tore her apart. She begged the well for power, and it listened. What returned from the Well of Creation wasn't Oladre. It was the magic given form. As the war progressed and the Evian forces turned the tide, the other founders distanced themselves from the thing that called itself Oladre. Sometime between the final battle and the first celebration of freedom, she slipped away from the army. She's still out there somewhere. Once a year, Sardona and Red Kite cross the length and breadth of the Federation looking for signs of her. So far, they've seen nothing, but they and Adiran Pride know she'll return, and there'll be a high price to pay for the help she rendered. The war raged for 3 years. It ended with the cost of lives. Okay. politics. This is what I was looking for, but I think this is where we get there's like a council. Some Congress people represent thousands of people, others only a dozen. Each island in the archipelago, no matter how tiny, supplies one congressperson who resides in the capital city. So we're going to have to do the capital city of Sovereign. The islands islands still controlled by Salacia are of course excluded from the Congress. Some Congress people represent thousands of people, while others only a dozen. So far, there's a consensus: one island, one voice, and most likely to stop anyone from gaining too much influence, but it's growing source of tension. Okay. It's all very well for a bunch of know-it-alls to assert that only a certain number of fishing boats are allowed to catch coast off the small one. Okay, I'm thinking I'm just gonna go with the 3 rebels. So we've got 4 of them, but of them, I think these 4 people are probably the ones that are going to be targets of assassination. We'll remove the council members, and put it down here as these three people, and we'll have them as congressmen of some type, except for this one who is missing. And she apparently has powerful powers. But these people might know where the dragon is. Summer Dragon. Now, we need to know a little bit about the Summer Dragon's ecology. Let's jump all the way down to the antagonist section for Creatures of Gaia. And we have the dragons here. Spring Dragon, Summer Dragon. Warriors, champions of Gaia, patrons of heroes, summer dragons enter the battlefield when the fate of the world lies at stake. Their souls brim with courage and eagerness to fight, as strong as the fire that rages within their heart. Although they never back down from their mission to protect nature from those threatening it, summer dragons aren't averse to recruiting people to their cause whenever the needs arise. They prove to be excellent war leaders with a deep respect for seasoned warriors, and the skills to forge those they see potential into heroes. Whoever draws the ire of a summer dragon earns a terrible foe who will die rather than surrender, and few powers in this world can hope to stop one. This is probably going to be a summer dragon that helped the who ended up helping the people of Eves in the battle. So Summer Dragon we can give a name. I always like looking up names that are kind of like reminiscent of the thing that they're associated with. So summer, like what's associated with summer that might work here? We could always go with a solstice or salty. I don't know. Summer in Latin. Asteus. Now, if I reverse it, estas. Now, that's summer. We can change it Stia. Astrid. We'll have the summer dragon's name Astrid. I like the name Astrid. In any case, let's say the summer dragon is currently held up on or hiding on an island or sleeping in an island volcano. I don't know if the summer dragon is like a hues of range from hues of fire gold, hundreds of flames dot their body, a bonfire burning within their horns, and their metallic wings shine. Okay. Okay, we've got that. I think having them in an island volcano is a good idea. Now, what we did before was when we were doing the sub chapters, we had brought it down into 3 sub chapters, establishing the conflict in the setting. Then we have the conflict. Then we have the reward. Reward set slash conclusion. So first up, we have the Slice spy network. We might want to adjust this a little bit so that we can have the members here. Sylvana, coming up with some random names. Blackheart. Another cool assassin name. I have a lot of stuff. I have a Reginald. I have a lot of notes peppered around my room right now, so you'll see like I make a lot of snap decisions around here. We could even have someone who's a Capper Knight who's like called Gorehammer. Any case, establishing the conflict. Well, the conflict is right now the Eves are trying to get their government off the ground. Let's say that the mission is to elect a. So we have like the Speaker of the House and Senate, so it'd be the Speaker of the Council, who's supposed to like essentially be like the magistrate or higher up of the people in the Congress. That way there's at least some order. And that way we can say that maybe there's a bit of like instability going on here. Last time, I think we did say that there was a festival going on. I do like having festivals. We're not going to do that now, but we will have something along the lines of various trade happening in the city, or traders looking for muscle. There was a thing about, if I remember correctly, that, and they did this in one of the other actual plays. There is a thing about there being like mermaids off of eaves. So if I look down here, the fish people, every type of person is found. One common feature is the eaves is the point of the well creation. There's no story of its discovery as far as the islands are concerned. It's always been there, and it's always will. The islanders' job in their myths and legends and several treaties. The well of creation remains free from human interference. The islands have and strictly abide by a treaty promising none of them will attempt to make use of the well's gifts, count as their territory, or allow anyone else to do so. Generation, strangleholds. Let's look at the plot hooks that the story seeds that have given here. The famous rebellion leaders have been missing for 3 weeks. They were last seen at the southern tip of the chain. Adirian suspects this means Eladre has returned and needs to put together a crew of brave souls to find their missing allies. The city of Uto on Elira Island was built under the rule of Treve Everyone's living there was considered. Everyone living there considers themselves a Salacian citizen since birth, yet none are part of the Federation of Eves. That doesn't work for me. A fishing boat reported the waters nearest the Well of Creation turned pitch black. The fish had fled, and they felt they were lost on the open water for days before sighting Eves again. There's no evidence of black water. Now the fishers are looking for someone who can independently verify their claim. Controlling creation. We did have talk about that. Who is there are a bunch of representatives who are doing stuff with demonic magic. I really like the idea of finding some sort of outland out there. So let's take one of those plot hooks and change it into something more up to speed to what we need. Right now there are traders who believe there is there is an island that is eating ships. Now this could be an outland or it could be a demon. It's like gigantic demon. Might be a sovereign. Would it be too crazy to throw one of the biggest, baddest demons at my players? It could be if the sovereign is not if the sovereign is malicious. Let's look at the rules for sovereigns. Above any other creature claiming the title of divinity and well worth of it. Sovereign are entities of immense power, timeless age, and otherworldly perspective. Eidolons of greatness, both bright and terrible, unbound by the limitations affecting beings of lesser godly nature. Their might ignores or shatters the laws of Gaia, and their actions reshape the world as each step and gesture they make change the fate of entire nations. A sovereign can raise a mountain or lay waste to an entire army with a manifestation of power, making them coveted forces to summon despite the risks channeling one of them into service entails, both for the summoner, their enemies, and nearby regions. This is more like the rules about how they don't have dice pools. Angichia, a hissing echo moon drowns drowns your perceptions as darkness not of this world wraps the world with its coils. A golden moon sheds its light for a handful of seconds before it blinks to reveal a slit pupil just as a second eye appears next to it. From the depths above, the figure of a woman as tall as the sky manifests around the glowing eyes. Dressed in a large toga, long black hair adorned in jewels frame her visage, and a smile both wicked and loving reveals a forked tongue. She raises one arm and slits her wrists. A rain of blood and dark green hues pours on the battlefield, imbuing the soil with her blessing. Where the blood lands, a writhing ocean of snakes emerge from the ground. Maybe not quite. It seems like there's a lot of ones that are sky related. I want one that's more. Here we go. Mefarius, the drowning deep. Silence falls. After a few seconds, you can hear something in the distance from all direction. A wave submerges the whole area. Not high enough to drown any of you, not yet. As the water rises more and more, the inky depths down below where the ground should be, a ring of yellow eyes opens. The mere sight of the primordial being injects in a vast terror in your souls, as if something worse than nightmare awoke from a slumber that lasted for eons. The lashing storm of tentacles, great and small, erupt from the water, grappling their prey and dragging them underneath. The ravenous Mefarius emerges from the death, crushes, embraces, and devours people. They can also slide through holes under enemy, traveling across the water Okay. Just double checking if there are any other ones that are kind of like the size of a island. I think this one is probably going to be the one that I have as like not really trying to do anything crazy, but just being present. Nefarious is drawing in tips by pretending to be a sunken island. We can make adjustments if need be. The lore is but a plaything for us as story guides. I'd like to thank everyone who's joined in on this and is listening. I hope while doing something else or just enjoying the moment. In any case. So we have this set up right here. We have a possibility of conflict. We need some plot hooks though to get to the island where the dragon is. So one thing could be that Mefarius has actually eaten the dragon's volcano, or maybe even devoured the dragon itself. However, we did just have another demon who had devoured a dragon, so I don't think I want to do something like that again. What we could have is that the dragon, the demon is circling the dragon's area. Maybe it's something that the players know exactly where the island is. Everyone knows where Astrid is. And she's probably waiting for another big conflict with the Leche. A new a new battle to test her metal. Metal. I'm gonna spell it like steel. I think it's probably something else, spelled differently. So first things first, we're going to have. I have these assassins. Maybe the assassins don't work. We can bring them in if we need to, but at the moment they are kind of on their own. However, I don't want to overload this too much, but I feel like I need to bring back the Talpidemy Magocracy people, as they are trying to get to the Well of Creation. So we already have 3 locations. We have the Well of Creation. We have Astrid's Island, and then we also have Sovereign. Sovereign being the capital city, I believe. So it could be that the Well of Creation is in between Astrid's Island and Sovereign. We don't really have a map right now. Like if I look at the map that Danielle gave us in the Discord, the map really shows Eve's sort of as like a bean. It's kind of like a bean shape off the coast. So halfway mark. So maybe we can do something else in this regard. Maybe I do think no, I think we should do it. The Astrid's Island is between is af the Well of Creation is between Astrid's Island and Sovereign. So let's have a captain here, and we'll call them. Captain Thunderfist, a sea captain who will take anyone, anywhere, but crossing the well of creation is off limits. Unless a deal is struck. Crossing the well of creation might be the easiest thing to do. And you know what? Because we're talking about it, we should probably bring up the well of creation. Well of creation, I just want to know what it looks like. So, well of creation. Countless tales and writings call the well of creation the source of all life and magic in Gaia. In other nations, it's so much a matter of legend as geography. In Eves, it's part of the fabric of life. The well itself is deep below the waves, and waters around it swirl in a fierce, deadly maelstrom encircled by jagged crests of rock. Brave sailors sail close to the maelstrom, looking for messages in the cloud above it, which are tugged and reshaped by the force of the well. This method of divination is dangerous, for its acknowledged truth that while things, creatures, ships are occasionally dragged down into the well of creation, nothing ever returns. Except for that one guy. That one guy. He's evil, probably. The well's power infuses the fish and other sea creatures in nearby waters. They are larger, more brightly colored, and often more dangerous. They change frequently and rapidly evolve over brief generations into new, stranger versions of themselves. Sailors say that swimming near the well, or even spending too long in the waters close to it, enacts changes on humans foolish enough to dare such a thing. Okay. So it's kind of like a maelstrom. So maybe crossing, yeah, this is definitely it's a dangerous thing to cross that ocean. We could use Mefarius as a bit of a red herring or something, or maybe even have a modified version of Mefarius kind of be roaming the sea, the well of creation. But we'll see how it goes. There's definitely going to be an Outland out there, so we'll have that as the conflict. Actually, yeah, that works as a conflict because even if you have a sovereign, you need to get them back through the gate, right, to destroy an Outland. I always forget this stuff. I remember having to deal with it in the Ashcan. Yeah. Da, 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 da. So we had it was the what are the gates? It's an Outland, so gates are found close in Outlands. There's a variety of stuff about mapping the Outlands. This is where I'm like, I wish I had the full version of the PDF, but I understand it takes a long time for them to lay out the PDFs. But Control F will work for just a little bit. Outland. You are in a void tainted area known as an outland. Magic use here is unpredictable as the void warps and twists everything. That doesn't tell me how to destroy an Outland. I think... Oh, that might have been it. Undead can be near Outlands. Void warped creatures can definitely be by Outlands. Void monsters are what becomes of creatures who have been in Outlands for a great deal of time. They lose all semblance of their original form, instead appear as hulking creatures seeking only to consume and taint. Most have unsettling features like tentacle-like appendages, bone spikes, and oozing skin. Ooh, I like that. You could have a couple of them riding the giant sovereign. Outside of rifts or void corrupted areas, demons can only exist on Gaia when summoned. Okay, so we do have that as a rule. I might have to open up the ash can to see that, but I think defeating it is impossible because it's the highest class of thingy, of demon. So we'll have it as closing the gate will banish the demon unless they make a deal with it. Um, so here we go into the conflict. So we have the Well of Creation, and then we have Astrid's Island. Well of Creation is definitely there's going to be a ship of the Mageocracy trying to use the well's power. They might have actually summoned the Sovereign Demon, the giant demon. That'd be a good idea. That would be kind of fun. In any case. So let's bring this into its own little thing. Mageocracy summon Nefarious, but couldn't control it. So we've got that as a plot point. We're going to definitely have a few void tainted creatures. Octopus, squids, what's a sharks? Street sharks, as it were. Now, we go back to the void tainted creatures, because those were the void tainted creatures, or void warped creatures. We have the warp puma, which we already did. The warp wolf I did in another game, but then we have these tainted creatures where they can have a variety of different additional abilities. Okay, so these are the types of qualities that they might gain from being void tainted. I'm just going to take a quick screenshot of that, so don't forget that. But let's go back to Creatures of Gaia and look for some. I mean, merfolk is a good one. You're looking for some animals and things of that nature. Incarna. Which are Incarna? Oh, they're like the spirits and stuff like that. Jabunta. Encountering. There's no way to describe a colossal creature as anything else than a living ecosystem that happened to adopt the shape of. Oh, these are the beings I was thinking of that are like islands that run around. They don't have a drive. They're driverless. Usually the creatures have some sort of drive associated with them, and these have devour, endure everything, and swim as like their primary pool, but there is no drive. Oh, I think I put that in the errata. I think I remember doing that. Okay, so they can. I wanna add the Jabunta, but I still want to keep the. I do still want to keep Marfarius. The Jabunta is at odds with Marfaris. Maybe Marfaris is dragging ships down and things of that nature. They rarely are come close to well-traveled waters. That even if the creatures often mind their own business, even more aggressive Jabunta echoing the shape of predators such as sharks and squids are so big, they only attack ships because they mistake them for a tasty whale or another large meal. Other than their size and might, another miracle elevates them to the rank of supernatural creature. Within the belly of each lies a pocket dimension, a space bigger than the already huge size. Over their absurd lifespans, some Jabunta devour as many beings and objects. Oh god. I can't have too many creatures that are eating things. That is too much of a thing. I will however have it as being a creature that can like attack the other thing, the sovereign, Mafaris. Maybe there's a thing where these two creatures are at odds because they're both predators, but the void tainted creatures have kind of taken over the are infecting the Jabunta. Oh man, and the Mageocracy people maybe don't even know they're on a Jabunta. That would be fun. Conflict wise, we do want to have some sort of fight between the. Oh, the gate is on the Jabunta's back. That would be. That would make sense because that's why Mefarius would have come through as if there was a gate in a way that basically allowed it to be summoned that way. And the Jabunta might become void tainted, or it might be powerful enough to resist a bit. But yeah, that's I like that. I like where that type of story is going. I would have to expand on it a bit, but definitely is something. And the players can find out about it and be like, "What the hell, Mageocracy people? Why did you do this?" Okay, they could definitely ignore it though and go straight for Astrid's Island. But luckily, the Jabunta is a peaceful creature. Void Tainted, maybe not. Maybe if they defeat it, they'll get some rewards from it. But let's see. So if cured, the Jabuna, Jabunta will vomit up some weapons and armor for the crew. At Astrid's Island, the summer dragon is aware of the players of the groups fighting of the Junta or Ferris and sees them as worthy of being Conrads in battle. And if not, Astrid will request that they deal with the moving out plan. Be a nice, fun thing to have. Okay. This is a little bit sparser. I do like the idea of having pirates. I do like throwing things around. We could expand a little bit more on the characters. We could damn it. Too good to be true. Yeah, so we could expand a little bit more on this, and definitely we can do that at the time of the character stuff. We do have some subchapter side missions we can toss in here. So Seleche and Eve's political strife is something we can talk about. Additionally, we can touch base on things like the Well of Creation, political structure of Eve's, and maybe even solidify a political alliance. Now, I need to double check what Eve's is allied with. It doesn't say there's anything about them being allied with Talpidemy. Okay, so Talpidium had mostly neutral relationships with neighboring countries. You know what? At this point, I feel like if the players keep getting demons as well as dragons, the queen might actually start distrusting the players. I might even be sending messengers and things to figure out what's going on. So to solidify an alliance between Eves and Talpidemy. I'm bad with names. I just apologize. I keep forgetting the names of things. Now, next up, we've got chapter 5, which is going to be the dragon. Oh. Chapter 5, which is going to be the dragon of fall. Or is it autumn? I always remember it because of that Pokemon meme thing, comic of, oh no, like fire, oh no, it's a flood. And then for Squirtle, it's like, oh no, it's the autumnal season. I'm a nerd, what can I say? Creatures of Gaia, dragons. It is the autumn dragon. So we did Eves. We could do Seleche, but I feel like Seleche would be Selecha would be a little bit too much because it's connected to Eves. So technically having two dragons so close together wouldn't really work for me. So we did Ordonia. We did Eves. I guess Invase. Invase would be a good place to go. Coastal and Swamp Lake area is currently an open war with Vitrumarian. This will put the players at a bit of a dangerous spot, I feel. Especially because Vitrumarian is probably going to be the final location for the fighting. And you know what? They need to go to Capernite for the winter dragon, I feel. So, but Invase is the one that I'm gonna go with. I do want to look up Invase because all of my notes on it are pretty sparse because it's currently in conflict. We'll definitely be going over it a lot more, but in next week. I just want to see. Oh, it's because the reason why it's so fractured is because there are two periods for it. There's the period when it wasn't at war, and there's the period when it is at war. So that's why it's having this issue. Before the start of the war, they had trade agreements with their neighbors, but when war broke out, Invase was among the first to recognize the Federation's sovereignty and send aid, both in the form of naval reinforcements and supplies. Okay. They're a little bit nautical too. Oh, they have some celebrations. And I always love celebrations. I wish I could incorporate them more into my games. Hopefully, when I do Extra Life, I might be able to do a game where it's all about just having fun and relaxing. In any case, I do like combat. It is one of the reasons why I liked a game that this particular game was inspired from, which, if you didn't know, was D&D 4th edition had some inspiration for At the Gates. Or At the Gates was inspired a little bit by D&D 4th edition. Not in any way that I can see as far as like mechanically goes. Maybe a little bit with Story Path Ultra, but it definitely has. It is definitely like this to me feels like an RPG. Like I feel Final Fantasy in this whenever I look at it. More so Chrono Trigger because I loved Chrono Trigger, and I really wish D would get back to streaming the Chrono Trigger game runs. But I do know that they take some time, and sometimes people don't have time to do these types of things. So, in any case, let's see. I do need to go over a few minor things towards the end of this. And I say minor, I mean major. If you didn't know about the approved licensing program stretch goal for StoryPath Ultra, it is the next crowdfunding campaign goal for the StoryPath Ultra core manual. I'll put a link into that into chat. I believe if I just do SPU, if I just type in a thing like SPU backer kit. Yeah, I'm a pro now. I can do it from memory. You can do that. There's also the Discord if you want to talk about stuff. And then there is also the Friday night game night for Onyx Path Publishing's game. Onyx Path Publishing runs a game night every Friday, the the last Friday of every month for Start Playing. There is a $10 off coupon for the games, if I recall correctly. Yeah. Details are on the website here. I need to get some time scheduled away to do some of that stuff. It always ends up I'm doing something those nights, so I can't really. I always miss out, but I really like to do it. What's the current funding of this game at right now? Oh man, we're close to 39. Like $50 away from 39. And it is at 816 back 816 backers. This morning it was at 800 or so. And I'm pretty excited. I'm pumped. I'm hoping this number goes up. I like seeing this stuff like work out. And Story Path Ultra, as far as the game goes, I'm really enjoying it. I did do my thoughts about it on my YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, I also did an interview with Eddie Webb, which was really fun. It was. I hate opening up my YouTube page because I'm always looking at stuff and being like, "Oh, I should read that." So here are my thoughts on the core manuals, like first preview chapters. Put that in the chat. You can listen to it if you wish. Take your time, put it on your watch later thing, and if you want to hear my dulcet tones talking to Eddie Webb, here is the Eddie Webb interview. Now we are closing in on time. Trying to think if I forgot anything else that Travis tells me to talk about. There is the current release, which is happening, and I mentioned the Curse, Realms of Pugmire, Threat and Curse. This looks so much like an old D&D book. I love it. There's a goat, for some reason, upside down on a ceiling in a cave. And a unicorn cat snake. So that's a thing. If you don't read the Monday meeting notes, I highly suggest doing so because you find out stuff like this week Dixie has an interview with Chaz Kellner about exalted alchemicals. I wonder if that's the same Chaz that I played Curseborn with. Oh, and there's also the link to the Curseborn Kickstarter, which, if you haven't been notified of the launch, it is happening soon, and you can sign up here to get notified of the launch when it happens. Now, with that being said, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a good one, and we will pass this over to to the pre-roll, and then maybe we'll raid someone. I always pick the good ones, don't worry.